Alright, this is the Aqua Pupper, and I'm going to be making a video while I pick this Master Lock 570, which I just got 2 days ago, for the channel Lockmania, since they're doing a giveaway, and this is the first one I'll ever be in, so I want to see if I can actually go 1 for 1. So, I got into lockpicking because of my grandfather. My grandfather, he is a Vietnam War vet, and after Vietnam, he had his old rifle that they let him keep somehow, and he came home with his rifle and he started to go hunting. And about 10 years ago, I asked him if I could go hunting with him, and he said no. And I said, well, what would I have to do? And he said, because it turns out, I never knew this, he was fascinated with lockpicking also. And he said if I could pick a certain lock that he had, with my eyes closed, using 2 sticks, I would be able to go on a hunt with him. About 2 years after that, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and was not able to go hunting anymore. Now, me being a young kid, I didn't know that, I really didn't know what cancer was. I mean, I knew what it was, I just didn't know the severity of it. And he gave me a lock, which I have, actually, oh, it's in the safe. I put his lock in an airtight safe because it's very special to me. And I tried picking the locks, and he said specifically with 2 sticks. He said no metal, no nothing, 2 sticks. And he would have me try and pick the lock every single time I would go to his house. He wouldn't let me go home and quote-unquote cheat at the lock. And I would go to his house at maybe 11 years old or so and try and pick the lock, and I would always fail. And then the cancer got terminal and he had to go to the hospital. And he brought the lock with him to the hospital. I don't know how he actually got it to the hospital, but he did. And I would go there and pick it with him. And then I think he went about 6 months. They attempted chemotherapy. They failed. And he left the lock to me in his will, and he left the instructions on how he wanted me to do it. Now, he left the instructions to my father in the will, and he told me, or the note said, do not let me see this until I open it with 2 sticks. And about 3 years after he died, I found 2 sticks when I was hiking in the middle of the Adirondack Mountains, and I whittled them for about 48 days, and until they were finally perfect. And I tried to pick the lock, and it failed. And I kept trying to pick it, and picked it, and only a few days ago, ironically, I opened it. And it turns out what was wrong with the lock was he had got that lock in Vietnam. And it had been shot, and the thing had been closed shut. And that the lock was never locked in the first place. It was always opened. It was just a matter of pulling hard enough and prying hard enough at the thing. And when I finally found that out, I opened it, and in the instructions, the supposed instructions were just try your hardest. I wanted you to become an avid lockpicker like I was. And my grandmother, I went to her house a few days ago, and I picked up this old lock that he used to put on his gun case. Like this. And it is old Slaymaker Super Lock, which, imagine the lock that he gave me that I have in the safe. Imagine right here a bullet hole, and that's the lock I tried to pick. Meanwhile, I had no clue that he couldn't pick it. So, my grandfather, I don't know what these two bars are for, but he told me that this was for a sharpshooter back in Vietnam. And yeah, I keep these with me. I always keep these with me on my desk so I can remember him. And throughout the years of me trying to pick my grandfather's lock, I started to look into other locks. And oddly enough, at my school, I went and I found this lock. My first ever lock. And no, I'm not joking. I found this little TSA lock that is really easy to open, like most TSA locks. You just one, and then boom, open. But this was my first ever lock, and I also was able to find the combo for it by just brute forcing it. I literally tested every single combo. And I also found this lock, which also is a TSA lock that I was able to open. This one actually cut my hands open, and I have scars on my hands because of the fact that they were open. But the most important lock that I have right now, to me, is this Slaymaker 12-digit combo lock, which it's my grandfather's old high school lock, which I had just recently found while cleaning out his basement for my grandmother because she, I don't want to disclose what's happening, but she's not doing good right now. But to sum it all up, my story for the giveaway is my grandfather got me interested in lockpicking by having me try and pick one of his locks. And over about, I think it was 5-6 years of me trying to pick his lock, I started looking at other locks. And when I finally picked it, I found out that it really wasn't a pickable lock and that it was broken. And I only found that out 6 years after his death. And yeah, and honestly, I practiced lockpicking to honor him. And that's really it. I have so much fun doing it because it's just that little leap of faith that you have to take when you pick a lock like this or like this, and you hear that final click. It's either a click of resetting or a click of you opened it. Like, there's certain locks that I feel like it'll take me maybe 20 years to open, and I just stay on that lock for maybe 1, 2, 3 weeks at a time. And I'll get those little moments where even if I open it just by, I don't want to say brute forcing it, but just trying my hardest, it feels so great. And I mean, that's really my story. I've really been trying to get into lockpicking, and now the fact that I actually can drive and go places and actually look at other locks, it's amazing. And I can really see how big the world of lockpicking really is. So that's my story for my submission. And yeah, see you guys later, and pray for me that I win. All right, bye.